Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So excited, super excited. Let me get my words out. Super excited to be before you guys on this fantastic day. I am Latoya Early. I am your vision coach. I am also the founder of Chase Great University. We are a niche certification company for Christian coaches. We help you align your life's purpose with your coaching message without compromising your kingdom assignment. So listen, we're going to talk about over the next couple days. We have a live series, and we want to talk about your coaching business. We want to talk about your coaching call, and I want to give you guys a better uh I want to give you guys a screenshot of who we are here at Chase Great and how we can support you as you are building out your kingdom coaching business. So go ahead and do me a favor and tag another coach that you believe could be could benefit from today's information. Again, we're going to talk about the why behind Chase Great and how important it is for you to align your life's purpose with your coaching message so that you can truly generate the income that you desire to generate in business while without compromising your kingdom assignment. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm doing my due diligence on my end, making sure that I'm getting people into the room. I want you guys to do the same. If you know someone who could benefit from this information, go ahead, tag a Christian coach, tag a coach, tag an individual who you know is ready to start their coaching business. They're ready to grow their business. They're ready to become the exact thing that God has called and created them to become in coaching. So I want you guys to ask questions. If you have any questions for us on today, I want you to ask questions. This is the opportunity for you to learn more about Chase Great. And guess what? I have a special guest who's going to join me here on today. So it won't just be me talking. We're going to bring our one of our Chase Great certified coaches, Latricia Rice. Not only is she a Chase Great certified coach, but she is also one of our Coach My Life network facilitators. And she's one of our coaches who have really shown up and been an amazing asset to the Chase Great community. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our amazing coach soon as I figure out what I'm doing. All right, there we go. Hello, Coach Latricia. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So
Thank
glad that
you.
she's joining us today for this conversation. So listen, Coach Latricia, make sure this is available on your make sure you share this out. For anyone else, make sure you guys share this out. We are streaming on several different platforms. So I want you to make sure that you guys are sharing this information and that you are making this information available to those who you know could benefit and use this information. So we're going to talk about the coach my life. Now what? I'm sorry. That's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about called to coach. Now what? And what does that mean? What does being called to coach mean? And what do you do once you identify whether or not you've been called to coach? How do you take your gift, your assignment, and you monetize it? One of our favorite scriptures that we use all the time is Deuteronomy 8 and 18, how God has given us the power to gain wealth, right? And so we
Mhm.
hear that scripture all the time. But my question for you is, do you really know your power? Do you know the power that was given to you for you to gain wealth? One thing that I love, and I'm really learning this about the word of God, is He's given us everything we need to become successful. He's given it to us, right? He's given it to us. He's given us the gifts. He's given us the skills. He's given us the ideas. He's given us the tools. The question is, are you willing to put in the work behind the gifts, the skills, the tools so that you can become everything that he potentially created you to become? Right? When you think about your call in coaching, we like to focus on here at Chase Gray University. We enjoy focusing on your life's why, right? We want to help you align your why. Why did God create you? Why did He call you here? We want to help you align that with your business so that you are not Number one, so that you're fulfilling the purpose that God assigned to your life. For number two, so that you're operating in fulfillment. And then number three, so that you are doing the exact thing that is pleasing and acceptable to God. So before we jump in, I want to pass the mic over to Coach Latresa, give her the opportunity to say hello, and to introduce herself. Coach Latresa.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach Latoya. Hello, everyone. I am your mindset coach. I am Latresa Rice. I help bereaved Christians regain hope by rediscovering their identity and healing through writing. I am so excited to be before you. Listen, I am excited to be connected with Chase Great University and be with this amazing visionary, Coach Latoya Early. Thank you so much. And I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Cool. So listen, before we get started, I want Coach Latresa to tell her story, right? So we're going to talk about, today we're going to talk about 3 steps to becoming a high impact Christian coach. Okay. That's what our focus is. We're talking about three steps to becoming a high impact Christian coach. I want Coach Latresa to share with you guys how she became connected with Chase Great. What were those steps for you, and why did you choose Chase Great?
That's a good question. Well, first, I met you before Chase Great. You came to my church, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Let me look at her table. I'm gonna check out some of this. Okay, it's a book here, and I like books, So I remember connecting that way first, and then connecting on Facebook. So while I'm on Facebook, all of us, we scroll Facebook. I'm just scrolling through Facebook. I make sure I comment on different people's pages because we're supposed to be social. I am more of an introvert, but on Facebook, we need to be social, right? It's social media. So I'm scrolling through, I'm making comments, and I see these live videos. And at this time, I am full-fledged in motivational speaking. I am doing trainings in motivational speaking. I'm going to different schools, making our presentations, all of that stuff in the sphere of motivational speaking. I'm also counseling people. I've been counseling youth and adults and all of that stuff. So I'm just scrolling through, and I saw there was one live, because I kept watching the lives. I want to say I watched them for at least a year, but I was watching the live videos. And as I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, she's real passionate about what she's doing. This is interesting. For me, it was just enjoying the videos. So then one video in particular said, well, how do you know you are a coach? I'm like, well, I'm not a coach. But this is interesting. Let me see what this is talking about. So I'm watching this video, and each of the different points that she mentioned, I said, wait a minute, I'll do that. I do that. Oh, I do that too. I do all that for free. Then I said, well, wait a minute. You are being robbed. You're helping people. You're getting all these different testimonials, but you're doing all of this stuff for free. You're coaching for free. So it must be a passion for you. Now we have to figure out, because God said that, you're not supposed to muzzle the ox who treads the corn. We got to figure out what you're supposed to be doing. What is he calling you to do? So I decided, okay, at that time, my mindset was not in a position of investing in me. I would invest in other people all the time. If they had an event going on, listen, how can I support your event? If they had a product, I'll pay for that. But when it came to paying for things that would enrich me, I was like, nah, I don't really need that. I need to hold that money aside for somebody else. So I remember hearing the amount to join. I said, well, I can't afford that. I won't do it. I'll wait. And I know, sis. So as I'm listening, and then there was one time in which there was an event that was $197. And I said, come on now. You want to invest $197 in yourself to learn at least about what you claim that maybe this is where God is leading you? I said, okay, I could do that. I do have it. But dang, maybe my cousin might need this, or maybe my sibling might need this $197. I'm going to go ahead and make the investment. I had to get past the broke mindset of, if I release this, then it's not coming right back and I won't be in position to help anybody else. Right? I had to get past that to make the investment. So I made the investment, and I'm on this call. And as I'm listening, I'm like, okay, this is good stuff. I'm so glad I made this investment. So then there was another opportunity presented. And at that time, I'm like, okay, well, let me pray about it, because it's stretching me even more. Let me pray about it. How many of you know sometimes when we say, let me pray about it, you could be causing yourself to miss out on an opportunity? because God wouldn't have brought it to you at that moment in time if it wasn't for you to do. And sometimes the let me pray about it has nothing to do with prayer, but everything to do with fear. So
Listen, now, Coach Latrice, now you can't be dropping nuggets while sharing your story at the same time. I'm over here like, girl, girl, right? Let me pause for a quick second. I know that Coach Latrice is telling her story, but what stood out to me with you saying this is that mindset shift, right? One thing that I am learning is, again, we talked about in the beginning of this, that God has given us everything we need that is within us, right? Everything that we need to become successful is already inside of us. I know that. However, I remember the time that I hired a coach, my first coach, and I remember God saying, listen, I've given you a skill to
wow.
help people, but I've also given others a skill to help you. And so when he showed it to me like that, it was like, Latoya, just like I'm developing you and I'm preparing you to go out and coach and support and serve others, I've also prepared someone to serve, support, and stretch you as well. And
Come
so
on.
when you talk about that mindset piece here at Chase Great, mindset is one of our most prominent areas of development, right? Because I understand that in order to go from where you are to where you desire to be, you're going to have to shift how you see it, and you're going to have to shift how you think about it, right? And so here you talk about the 197 investment, and it probably was like one of our off courses that we were
Mm-hmm.
providing, just to provide you with more information. But again, when you decided to make the initial investment into Chase Great, it wasn't necessarily an investment into Chase Great. It was an investment into who you were becoming. And so I wanted to just kind of jump in right there, because I want people to see that, listen, when you know that God has called you to something, you have to be willing to make the adjustments in the way you see it and in the way you think about it, so that you can develop the skill and the gift that God has given you. And so anyway, I'm gonna pass it back so that Coach Latrice can tell her story, because I'll completely go and start teaching, because this is so passionate. This is so passionate for me. I love talking to startup coaches. I love talking to aspiring and emerging coaches, because this is one of those areas where either I'm going to invest in my personal and professional development, or I'm going to keep trying to do it by myself. And trying to do it by yourself will have you running in circles. Okay, Coach Latrice, keep going.
My. Listen, that's a nugget in itself. Trying to do it by yourself, or how you run it in circles. I remember that, and there are times in which I'm still working through that. That's why I need a coach. Thank you, coach. But I'll tell you, I'm gonna go back to my story. So when I talk about my story, it took me a minute to get involved. But when I got involved, and I'm actually participating in the workshops. Now, at first, my thought was, okay, Lord, you're calling me to be a coach. I get it. So I must be a public speaking coach. That's me. That's got to be me, Jesus. So I joined, and in my mind, I'm about to be this public speaking coach. I'm here to learn how to do that on that end of the spectrum. All right. So we're going through this class, and one of the things that was said was, what you've been called from is what you've been called to. And I said, okay, well, I used to be super shy with regards to speaking on different platforms. So maybe I still am a public speaking coach. Okay. But then as I continue to pray about it, God revealed that I'm a mindset coach, and the area I need to deal with was loss. And I said, hold on, I don't want to do that. Not that. Wait, pump your brakes, Jesus. I don't want to do that. Because for me, it was like, Lord, it's enough to make it through. But what he revealed to me is that's what he's been preparing me for all of my life. My mom died when I was 7 from, they said pneumonia, but it was caused by AIDS, right? And also, when I look at that, my dad died in 2011. I had relative after relative who I was close to that kept passing, and I still had to move. How do you move when those who are closest to you are leaving? You feel abandoned. You may feel depressed. And I didn't even realize that half the stuff I was doing as a kid, as far as all the different fights and being super irritable, had to do with depression until I learned more about it in my profession, right? So I'm going through this process. During the entire process, God had me writing. My grandmother actually was the first one to say, okay, listen, if you keep doing stupid things, folks gonna tell you, they're gonna think you're stupid. Because she kept saying, don't be stupid all your life. At some point, get a clue. And whenever she would say that, I would be so mad. I said, Grandma, you just called me stupid.
Listen, grandmas, I think grandmas think they can say whatever they want to say. I'm just gonna go ahead and just grandmothers think that they can just say whatever they want to say, and you're supposed to just take it. But that definitely sounds like a grandmother statement.
I'm telling you, yes. It's so funny, but it became a self-check for me. As a matter of fact, in my first book, Gate to Life, it is the running theme through the book, because that one is based on, it's my autobiography. So it's based on the experiences and the anger and all the different stuff that I dealt with and how God brought me through that to live a prosperous life. It's designed to reach that person, that especially that youth who's dealing with anger issues and don't even know where it's coming from. They're just reacting. Sometimes we go through life and we simply react. We don't think about it. It's just in that moment. And we got to operate from a position of grace when somebody simply reacts towards us, because we're all just reacting sometimes, right? So I had to go through that process of writing. I remember another incident with writing. My grandmother, my sister and I got into this big argument, right? And my grandmother said, y'all write a letter to each other, and I want you to say everything you got to say to her, and you're going to be able to read your letter out loud. I said, ooh, I can't wait. So I write all of this mean stuff on this letter. And so we get to sit across from each other with our letters. And my grandma said, here's the thing that you didn't know. For every negative word that you wrote in that letter, you have to say the exact opposite, because your words matter. So we had to read these letters. So here I am reading my letter. I love you, and I can't imagine life without you. And all of this stuff, and tears, because you want to say the negative, but you're required to say the positive. But even in speaking the positive, I felt more positive. So sometimes when we go through loss, when we tend to project and proclaim the negative, you actually need to be speaking the exact opposite of what you're feeling to experience it. So that was one aspect of writing that really blessed me in that process. And I continued to flourish in that area. And the more I dealt with loss, the more things I would write. I would write poems. I would write it in my journals and all of that stuff. So when I got to Chase Great University's courses, and God revealed that I was a mindset coach, and I'm dealing with bereaved Christians, because how many of you know Christians deal with grief too? A lot of times we want to act like we don't have any, we don't never deal with depression. We never have any issues. Everything is, all is well. And it's okay to proclaim all is well. You also have to deal with the real. All is well, but right now, God, I don't feel it. Help what I'm feeling to help what I believe to line up, so that they're not out of whack and out of union, because I trust you and I believe you. Sometimes as Christians, when we deal with loss, we can be angry with God. In 2020, my grandmother passed, and this is the grandmother that raised me. And then a month later, my husband died from COVID-19. Now listen, hold up now. We met through social media. He slid in my DMs, right? And that was a year and a half prior, right? So he slid in my DMs. We're going through this long distance courtship, because he lived in Columbia, South Carolina, and then I live in Michigan, right? So I travel there, he travels here. We're passing this bracelet as a reminder that the other person is coming back, right? So then here we're going through this process. Now, October 2019, we get married. We have this Wonderland, this Caesar in Wonderland is the theme of the wedding, I called it. Wedding, and he moves here to Michigan. Well, 5 months later, he died from COVID-19. I was devastated. I didn't want to write anymore, because I felt like the people who supported me the most had died, and I was crushed. So I went through that period of not wanting to write anymore, just simply trying to live. How many of you know when you are trying to get up from the darkest spot in your life, light is still present? Sometimes we focus on the darkness, but the smallest light can illuminate every space. Think about that cell phone charger that you may have that may have that little light on there, and you cut all the lights out in the room. But when you plug that cell phone charger in and hook it to your phone, that space is still lit up. I had to begin, in order to get through that grief, I had to begin to search for the light in the midst of that process, in the midst of the healing process. So I remember praying, and there were times in which I didn't want to pray. I remember talking to God straight up, no chaser, God, I'm mad at you. Listen, if you're saying he's your father and he's a parent, sometimes we get upset with our parent, but we still have to watch our mouth with how we treat them, even when we're upset with them. It's the same with God. I'm like, God, I'm mad because I feel like all the praying. I remember anointing my husband with oil and praying over him and all of that. And I said, Lord, you've called me to be an intercessor. How did the prayers not get answered? You said, whatsoever I ask, believe, and I shall receive it. Well, what happened here? So I'm going through and I'm talking to him using the scriptures. I'm hurt and I'm upset. But one of the things that God revealed to me in that process is you ask for him to be healed. Is he still struggling? Well, no. You asked for your grandmother not to be in pain. Is she still in pain? No. Then how can you say that I did not answer your prayer? My answer may not look like what you expected, but I did answer your prayer. The very thing you asked for as far as healing has manifested. It's just in a different way. So sometimes we get mad with God because we want things our way. But instead of, I had to shift and say, well, Lord, let me look at gratitude. So in that process, even in the darkest moment where I'm in my bedroom, I got the blackout curtains because I don't want any light getting through here. I'm waking up in the morning angry because he woke me up that morning. I went through that type of stuff. But in the room, on one side of the room is all the obituaries for my grandmother. On the other side is all the obituaries for my husband and all of their items. And the room is scattered. Everything is in this room. So to get up from there, I had to celebrate every win. I had to take one item, and I started with my husband's things, one item out of the room per day and just cry. So I'm crying. And a lot of times as Christians, we try and hold back tears, but they that sow in tears will reap with joy. It's important to let it go, let it release. So I had to go ahead and release it and believe that I'm getting up from here. So there's a mindset shift that I had to walk out. With regards to writing, I was trying to live. So I was making Facebook posts, searching for the light in the midst of all the darkness. So I would think about a memory between my late husband and I would write the memory. And then at the end, I'm sitting there trying to find some element of light in the memory. And I'll write what message I gathered from that memory. I didn't realize how many people were being blessed by the Facebook post. Because for me, I would write it. And in the midst of writing it, I am crying. I'm bawling. I'm rereading it all throughout the day. I was going through. I'm trying to remind myself that there was something to gain, because if I'm supposed to prosper in everything that I do, then there's still something to gain, even in the midst of loss. So that's a little bit about my story and the importance of writing. Writing is it's simply a tool. God is the one that brings healing, but he does give us the gift and the opportunity to exercise the authority that he's given us in writing. When you think about a king or a queen and they make decrees, when they write it down, it cannot be revoked. So when you are writing, you're given an opportunity to walk out like God. All right, I'll turn it over to you, sis.
No. So how did that, though, in your story always just melts my heart every time. Like every time I hear you share your story about the bereaving process. So I want to know now, how did the experiences connect you to certifying as a mindset coach, where now you're helping others really walk through that bereaving or that grieving process through writing, so that they can be healed and bless those, that can be impacted by their story?
Absolutely. Well, one, I had to get past I'm never writing again. I forget writing. I had to get past that. And the first step was just the writing the Facebook post. Then I got asked to write a foreword in a book. But by that time I had got used to writing something, because I'm writing posts, right? So I wrote the foreword. Then I got asked to write a chapter in Faith, Failure, Success, Surviving the Storm called Life on Fire, where I got a chance to give a brief synopsis of that experience. So as I'm writing, I'm revisiting. So during the courses with Chase Gray University, I had an opportunity to even revisit what gems were in that as we went through the content. Listen, the content in the Chase Gray University was amazing. There were things that I didn't even realize were connected, that were revealed as I was going through the different modules and doing the assignments. How many of you know when you're given an assignment and you don't miss out on the blessing? You know how you go to school and you get homework and you don't do the homework, but then you expect to get 100% on the test and something happens. It just doesn't happen. For me, doing the work, being willing to do the work, and also seeing the clients before they came. We have to see those who God is calling you to reach and say, okay, I'm willing to do the internal work, to work on me so that I can reach you through this coaching business. Because if I don't work on me, all I'm going to pour on you is my pain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that brings me back to the topic. We're talking about 3 steps to becoming a high impact coach, a high impact Christian coach, right? And so the very first step to becoming a high impact Christian coach is knowing your why. And so I wanted Coach Latricia to come on and just talk about her why, talk about why mindset coaching is her zone of genius, why she believes that God has called her to the space of mindset coaching as a Christian coach. Because a lot of times when we think of our coaching assignment, we think of what's popular, we think of what's profitable. But here at Chase Gray University, we don't focus on what's popular, we don't focus on what's profitable, we focus on what's purposeful. And we believe that if you are focused on what God called you to, that profit will come. That and I don't even want to say popularity, because popularity can just be kind of received in a negative way. But honestly, you will become influential, and being influential comes with popularity. And so I'm saying that to say that if you are in a space where you're saying, okay, have I been called to coach? One thing that Coach Latricia said is that we listed some things, some identifiers. One of the things that you can take a moment and do some self-examining and identify whether or not you enjoy helping others solve a specific problem. I know that when I first came into the coaching space, I'm big on let me find a solution. Okay, you bring a problem to me. It doesn't matter if it's about business. It doesn't matter if it's about something personal. If you bring me a problem, I'm getting ready to help you solve this problem. That was one of my identifiers that coaching was definitely a lane for me. Another identifier, if you're trying to figure out whether or not you've been called to coach, you're saying, Latoya, how do I know that I've been called to this coaching space? You find yourself in these type of conversations. You find yourself in these type of arenas where not only are you sharing your experiences, but you're sharing how your experiences molded you and shaped you to become the better version of yourself. Again, Coach Latrice is looking at the loss of her loved ones, like, how in the world can this be tied to what God has called me to? And to know, and you know what, Coach Latrice, you're also a licensed therapist. Can you tell
Yeah.
me what area of therapy do you serve in?
Wow. I am a licensed therapist right now. I've done more work with adults lately. However, I did a lot of work with youth. I've done some case management work. Right now, I would say I serve more in the area of trauma, depression, as I'm working with clients.
So the reason why I wanted Coach Latrice to say that is because how many of you have gone out and got a degree, right? You went to school, you've got all of this education behind you, and you're trying to figure out, how do I make this make sense? How do I align this? And while Coach Latrice went out and received her license as a therapist, still helping in the area of trauma, still helping in some of the very elements that she served her coaching client in, how they both connect. And so when we talk about the why, we're talking about the 3 steps to becoming a high impact Christian coach. When we talk about the why, understand you getting clarity of your life's why. It's what's going to create a deeper experience or a deeper transformation for you and your client. Okay. So Coach Latrice sharing her why with us, I wanted you to see how your why should align with who you are as a coach, right? Our why here at Chase Great is to help you become the coach that God has called you to become. I've been in the coaching industry since 2012. I've seen the different strategies and techniques. I've gone through different programs where they're taking secular or worldly strategies, trying to help me, the believer, develop a business. Let me tell you what I saw in doing this. I saw manipulation,
Mm.
I saw control, I saw a level of psychoanalyzing that I didn't want any part of. And so when I share with people why we started Chase Great University, why did we start Chase Great Enterprises? And it was because I knew that God had called me to something, but I
Mhm.
couldn't find a program, I couldn't find a community that would not only help me identify the call, but help me mature the call, help me
Come on.
grow the business, help me develop the skill, all using kingdom principle and kingdom strategy. And so I wanted Coach Latrice to come on and just talk with us about, her experiences with Chase Great, her experiences with becoming this coach. I wanted you to hear her journey because some of you are looking at your experiences and you're saying, why have I gone through these things? Why am
Mhm.
I the one experiencing loss, grief, trauma, hurt, confusion, lack of confidence? Why am I the one that's fighting through these things? And as
Come
Coach
on.
Patricia said, what you've been called from is what you're being called to. And here at Chase Gray University, we focus on what you've been called to. And how do we gain the clarity in your messaging?
Mhm.
How do we gain the clarity in your life's why so that you can make the alignment with the business, generate profit, change lives without compromising the kingdom assignment?
That's
Right?
good.
That's all we're here to do. Coach Latrice has been serving and working with individuals, writing books. She has a conference coming up with Clarity in the Pen. Like there's so many things that I've watched unfold from Coach Latrice after going through the Chase Great University program. And so again, we're just spending this time now to share with you the why behind Chase Great and 3 ways for you to show up and create that high impact in the lives of your clients. So we talked about number one, we talked about knowing your why. Coach Latrice shared her why with us, man. And I promise you, every time I hear it, I want to just go into worship because I don't
Mhm.
even know how I will be able to handle the things that she's experienced. So number two, we're talking about 3 steps to becoming a high impact Christian coach. We talked about knowing your why. The second thing is learning how to align your why with your business. And so we want to be specific here because we're talking about coaches, but this is for business leaders across the board. You want to align your life's purpose with your business. Why? Because it's what's going to keep you committed, is what's going to keep you focused. I've had 8 businesses before Chase Great Enterprises, 8 of them. And I remember starting my first business. I started, and I'll go ahead and tell you guys because it was definitely BC. But I started my first business and I sold adult novelty. And I remember jumping into this business. My cousin, she's an amazing successful business owner, and she had started a business. So I'm like, hey, at 19, I'm like, I want to learn too. I jumped into business, and at that time I didn't know that business should be grounded in purpose. I was more so searching for profit, right? I'm looking for a way to help me make money. That was just my only thing. And so I went from going from selling adult novelty to, I had a demolition company, to an event planning company, to a girls organization. So I've gone through the different layers and levels trying to find my why, trying to
Mhm.
find who I am. And that's where Chase Great was birthed. The day that God called me to become a coach, I said, I don't know how to do this. I didn't know what to do. And so I focused on aligning my life's assignment with the core of the business because I knew that That's what brought me to that place. And so if you're in a space where you're trying to figure out how do I add value to my client, Latoya, you're saying that I'm called to coach. How do I do this? How do I become successful? How do I monetize the gift that God has given me? It's about aligning his assignment for you with your business so that you can stay committed. So in those seasons when business is not doing what you wanted to do financially, okay? Knowing that you have reasoning and a why behind that is what's going to keep you focused and committed. So, Coach Latrice, talking about aligning your why with your business, can you share with us how Chase Great has helped you do that?
One of the things and I'm glad you gave me the opportunity to talk about that. One of the things I wanted to share is Chase Great allows you an opportunity to have a network. See, sometimes it's not easy for you in and of yourself to just discover your why. You have so many things, so many hats you're doing, and you may think, at least for me, I was doing a lot of stuff. I mentioned I was a clinical therapist. I mentioned I'm involved in motivational speaking, writing books. So for me, it's a lot of cloudiness. But joining Chase Great University, I was connected with other coaches who have a similar goal. Our goal to find and discover our why. And these coaches, listen, they're amazing. They're willing to share, to challenge each other, and it's a network. Sometimes when we try and do everything in silos, we hurt ourselves more than we know. If you can get connected to a network of individuals who have a mindset to flourish and a mindset to do what you're doing your best to do, then you can get those moments when you don't want to do it, or moments when you want to give up, those moments in business when things slow down. You have another sister in the community, and you can post what you're going through, and they have resources and things they assist you with. One of the things that highlighted for me is the fact that independence is a lie, and it's also a future stiller. Let's just be real. We are interdependent. If he calls us to sit together in heavenly places, we need each other. If we're supposed to reign with him, we all need each other. We're interconnected. And when you're working with an organization like Chase Great University, you have the opportunity to really see how interconnectedness works and flourishes. So that's one of the things I would say. Joining this community helped me to realize that I'm not in this by myself, that there are others who are dealing with similar experiences, and there are different things that they've learned that they're openly sharing with me that it's valuable beyond what I could imagine, because I didn't have to bump my head to figure that out by myself. Absolutely. Sometimes pride causes us not to join the organizations that could be more of a lifeline for us.
Who, child? We're not gonna talk about pride, okay? Because when I tell you God has given me such revelation about pride, I remember talking about as we designed Chase Great, I remember talking about some of the challenges and some of the barriers that I had to overcome personally so that I can show up as an authentic coach to you guys with integrity, right? And I remember talking about having to overcome the spirit of pride, having to overcome the spirit of rejection, having to overcome the spirit of fear. These are all things that stood in the way of me challenging myself and believing in the assignment that God called me to as a coach. One of the issues that I had at that time is I didn't have that connection, that connecting piece of a community to help me work through those things so that I can become a better coach. That brings me to point number 3. You kind of beat me to it, but we're talking about the 3 steps to becoming a high impact Christian coach. We've talked about your why. We've talked about learning how to align your why with your coaching business. And then lastly, connecting with a community that will help you stay committed. Because what I know, when you're called to such an assignment, there's going to be warfare. It's going to be. Again, you have to remember what type of assignment we have as coaches, as believers. Now, again, I cannot speak for coaches who are building their business to be popular, building their business to be profitable. I can't connect with those coaches because their motive is different. But for someone who knows that their life's purpose is to help serve others in solving a problem, there's a certain level of warfare that you experience. Why? Because what you're doing is you're saying, I'm willing to defeat the attacks of the world so that you can not only become the better version of you, but so that we can draw you closer to Christ. Tell me where is that good for the enemy? Tell me where, so yes, warfare does increase, but in level 1 of our training curriculum, we focus on that. We focus on internal healing and development. When we talk about identifying your niche, it's not just finding a title or a theme that's going to grow your business. No, we're talking about diving deep into your life experiences so that we can pull from the root the challenges and the barriers that have kept you stuck so that you can now show up in the lives of your client authentic. I would, any person that's going through a grieving process, any person that is going through something and they are ready to be free from that, guess what? I'm sending them to Coach Latresa because I know Coach Latresa did the work. I know that Coach Latresa, and don't get me wrong, it's not comfortable, but tell me, how do you grow in comfort? How do you get to your next level if you're stuck in being complacent in a space of mediocrity? Right? So we've been talking about, for those of you who are just joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. We've started back the Call to Coach Now What series. We're on day 1. We're going to be doing this over the next couple of days. We're going to have different coaches come on and join us here as we talk about Chase Gray University and how Chase Gray University is different than most certification companies that you may have come in contact with. One thing that we focus on is your why. We take a deeper dive into your why, helping you to understand your assignment in coaching so that you can work through some of your personal challenges, some of your personal barriers, so that you can be healed and show up authentically before your client. Level 1 is probably one of our most powerful levels in the certification program because this is the level where you are identifying who you are in Christ as a coach.
My.
And it's not easy. It is, listen, it's not. But we're here to work with you. We have client success coaches available that we partner with our incoming coaches to help navigate you through this process, help navigate you through the curriculum, help navigate you through the journey. Why? Because this isn't something that we take lightly. Listen, I know that there are certification programs that you can get in a day. I know that there are certification programs that you can take 2 to 3 classes and you're done. But here at Chase Gray University, our goal is bigger than the certification, right? You just get the certification because that is your reward for the completion, or the physical reward. Let me say that, because the reward is way deeper than that piece of paper. But what we want to focus on is helping you do the work, take a deeper dive into who God has called you to become so that you can be prepared and ready to train and transform the lives of those that you're connected to and that you're supposed to serve in your business. So I want to talk about, before we end out, I said I didn't want to hold you guys too long today. So before we close out, Coach Latresa, if you could share any final words with our listeners about Chase Gray University and how we've been able to support you in your why, what would that be?
One of the things I would share is they wouldn't let me quit.
Listen, we do not play that, okay? That is one thing. And listen, y'all, listen. This is so funny that you said that. I have to like tell myself, and I tell my team the same thing, like, okay, y'all, I know we're here to provide this service, but we can't want it more than our clients do, right? But at the end of the day, because I know what God has called you to, it doesn't matter how I try to be like, I'm done. I can't. So you are right, Coach Latrice. We don't mess with quitters,
And
okay?
I'll tell you,
You
I
gonna
actually,
you gonna get into this program, and we're going to make sure that you reach your greatest potential.
and I absolutely love that because for the person that's dealt with loss and may have struggled with abandonment from the loss, you begin to abandon others to avoid being abandoned, especially when things get hard. So it is an opportunity for you to defeat the enemy consistently by sticking to the goal and staying with the program. So I love the aspect of they won't let you quit. Because again, it's a reminder that just like God did not abandon you, He hasn't given up on you, neither does Chase Great University. And you cannot abandon and give up on your clients that are waiting for you to show up. They're waiting for you. Somebody, and I had to think about the fact that I was getting questions. How did you get through that? Like, I don't understand what was going on. And in my mind, I'm going, well, I mean, I don't know. I'm here. But going through the curriculum, I was able to see how God brought me through that, the different connections He had me connected to, the different resources and tools, and put that. Chase Great helps you package what you have, the gems that God has given you along your journey, package it in such a way that the next person who is dealing with that issue can pick up that package, run, and experience what you've experienced without dealing with it for extended years of time, trying to figure it out on their own. So I definitely would say it's worth the investment. You are worth the investment in you. And I had to look at that too, because that could be a self-esteem issue too. When you refuse to invest in yourself by taking the things that you know you need to take, but you're willing to invest in others, that speaks volumes about how you feel about you in that time. And in comparison, even with others, you feel greater about others than you feel about yourself. And there's a reason for that. And you have to figure out what that is. Going through the curriculum can help you identify why you are feeling that way, why you struggle to celebrate the amazing gift that you are, why do you struggle to invest in yourself, why do you struggle to show up. So
Yeah,
I just want to say I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to be certified. Yes, I am a certified mindset coach through
absolutely.
University. Thank you so much.
I love that. I love that. And listen, we're only talking about level one, right? There are 3 levels to the program. Okay. We're only talking about level one. Level one focus on the internal development. We focus on the why. We focus on helping you get clarity of who you are as a coach and who you are as a coach in Christ. And so I wanted to just have a moment to just sit back and unpack what it looks like to work with Chase Great. What does it look like to be a part of our community? One thing that God has been pressing on me, He said that I'm watching too many people try to take a kingdom assignment and fit it into a secular strategy. He said, no, I want Chase Great to take my kingdom assignment and
Mama.
create kingdom strategies so that the person who are to receive those kingdom strategies can not only draw closer to Him, but they can experience a deeper and more authentic level of transformation. If you're going to become the coach that God has called you to become, because I don't take this lightly, y'all. People know, those around me, my friends know, my family know, I don't mess around with coaching, because I know that this is something that God has called me to. I know that this is my life's assignment, and I know that my behavior or my actions are connected to the people that I'm supposed to serve. My actions are connected, and I've done some stuff that I'd be like, now Latoya, if one of your coaches saw you do this, you would not like it. You would be and those are the moments that I correct myself, like, let's fix this. Let me
Yeah.
fix my words. Let me fix how I show up. Why? Because I believe that when Jesus was here physically on earth, He was the example. And so when people look at the word, we don't see him. We don't see Jesus
Mhm.
going through some of the things that we went through, but we knew that as man he went through those things. And I'm not saying that I'm Jesus. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I don't go through things. What I'm saying is that as a believer of Christ who's called to serve people, I want to be a good example. I
That's
want to
good.
be a good example to what it looks like to show up, say yes to God in my assignment, and spend the rest of my life committed to the assignment that God has called me to. So listen, Coach Latrice, I thank you so much for rocking out with me today, joining me on this afternoon to just talk about Chase Great University. What we offer here at Chase Great University is the opportunity for you to align your life's purpose with your coaching message so that you can generate profit without compromising your kingdom assignment. And I believe that Coach Latrice is a perfect example or a perfect product of Chase Great University and what we have to offer. Make sure you are following Coach Latrice. Again, she has a fantastic event coming out in October. If you want to learn more about what she's doing, make sure you connect with her. If you are ready to say yes to your assignment in coaching, I encourage you to click the link in the caption. Let's get you into the community. Let's get you connected. Let's start this journey. Know that one thing, our scripture here is Matthew 18:19, where two shall ask anything in our Father's name here on earth, that it shall be done. Chase Great, we're your two.
Come on
Right, we're
here.
your two. Whatever God has called you to in the space of coaching, we are your two. We're here to help you push past those life obstacles and those challenges and those mind blocks and those road barriers and those challenges, so that not only you can become who God really created you to become, but also that you can show up and be impactful to the lives of those that you've been called to serve. Cool. So listen, if you have any questions about Chase Great University and how we can support you as you start, grow, and monetize your coaching business, make sure you reach out. Click the link in the caption. We have our summer cohort starting soon, and we want you a part of the summer cohort. If you're still wondering, what if, I want you to think about what if you don't? What if you don't? We're going to be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have another amazing coach who's going to join us. We also have a few of Chase Great team members who are going to join us as well to talk more about what we do here at Chase Great University and how we're here to serve you. Whether or not you're looking to become a coach or you're looking to hire a coach, Chase Great Enterprises is the resource for you. So make sure you click the link in the caption. You're ready to answer your assignment and become a coach. And let's go ahead and start this journey together. Thank you so much, Coach Latrice, for joining us on today. I appreciate you so, 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 so,
Thank
so much.
you.
Thank you. And have a fantastic day.